you're not getting that benefit from the system. And currently the SaskPower net metering and small power producers prefers renewable energy generation, so there isn't any rebates or that kind of thing available. What we were able to do is get special permission to install into the small power producers, which gave us a fixed rate, well, annual inflated rate for electricity of, when we did the program, 9.4 cents a kilowatt hour. Again, projects such as these are really going to guide how SaskPower, Sask Energy is going to deal with these systems and going forward. So we did this demonstration at a manufacturing facility in Regina. They manufacture HVAC ductwork. It's about a 12,000 square foot facility. We found them through an expression of interest. We did public marketing, I guess, to really see who wanted to be part of this demonstration. And there was no cost to the building owner. But we went through and we had about 20 responses, and we went through and rated them and determined where the system was going to fit best, where we can make the biggest impact. We had very large buildings apply, like hospitals, universities, and this unit would have just disappeared in their whole utility scheme. At Inland Metal, we felt this system would actually make a difference in their heating and electrical needs. So based on their utility records, we determined that would work. And also they experience a lot of power outages. They're very close to Everaz Place, or Everaz Power, or Metal. And they do experience a lot of power outages where we would be able to demonstrate the black start capabilities. The existing building was designed to be heated with forced air furnaces and radiant tube heaters. They had three forced air furnaces and a large HRV that he supplied air to his employees in the shop. We really targeted 3,500 to 5,000 hours in this facility. We thought that was doable. Because the system was a prototype, we didn't have all the emission stuff figured out right when we started. The code officials were a little uneasy about installing this thing inside without a big fire-rated enclosure. We decided, you know what, let's just build a little shed outside the house. We'll run some duct or piping in and keep it simple. So we built a little enclosure outside the building, ran our hot water or supply and return lines in, as well as the power production cables. Right here you can see this is what the system looks like. The engine up top, kind of some of the peripheral, we got heat exchangers, oil sumps, batteries. We added a lot of complexity in having to install it outside because we needed the heat trace lines, we needed battery chargers, we needed battery blankets, all these things that we wouldn't have needed inside, but we didn't want the system to freeze up or not start when it got cold. So we took natural gas into the engine, and it splits off in two ways. We have electricity being produced, supplied to the building. If any power, if we're producing more than what the building's using, we're selling power back to SaskPower. On the other side, we're heating up a large storage tank with hot water, and then that is being piped to all the fan coils, which we installed on the forced air furnaces and the HRV. So the system was run to, we implemented the storage tank to prevent short cycling of the system. We really don't want to start this engine up, have it shut off and start up and shut off. We want it to start up and run. And using a storage tank like this was a good option for that. And yeah, and if there's no heating required in the building, then the CHP system doesn't run. So most of the CHP systems have a 4,000 to 6,000 hour maintenance cycle right now, which kind of is about a year to a year and a half worth of operation. There is a system out there now which does have a 10,000 hour guaranteed maintenance cycle. But these maintenance cycles are going to be similar to your car engine, right? You're going to have an oil change, you're going to want to replace your air filter, look at your spark plugs, that kind of thing. If you don't do this annual maintenance, it can be like a car. It's going to pile up eventually, and you're going to want to make sure you take good care of it. Regular fluid level checks are also going to be required. You don't want to have a leak in the system somewhere, or else you start running out of coolant or oil or that kind of thing. Some of the regulatory requirements, CSA approval is required, and we feel this is really a major barrier for international units coming into the North American market. It's not a cheap venture. You know, they're going to be looking at investing $1 million just to get their CSA approvals. And they've got to really see that there's a market here first and really get developed in the markets that they're in. We found that we were able to get through a lot of that, you know, CSA special approval by using CSA approved components, right? So you have the right gas valves, you have the right CSA approved inverters, that kind of thing. Installation requirements, this was a major mechanical commitment to install fan coils on furnaces all over the facility. So we were running piping from outside to the storage tank and then all over the facility to the fan coils on the HRV and the furnaces. And the exterior installation added cost and complexity. We had to build a shed, we needed a duct chase. So I got some results here from our demonstration. So this is our monthly run hours. We started the system in March 2010, got a couple months of work and then it weren't done. So the system shut down for the summer. In September we clicked it on again, system started running, got to October, okay, well we're not getting a whole ton of run hours. November, it was cold and we're not getting that many run hours, we just got over 200 hours and said, oh, this isn't right. So we started looking at the system and how the whole building worked. And it really came down to, well, he had setbacks on his thermostats. So the system would cool down overnight and the CHP system wouldn't run. And then it would come on and the CHP system would run, but it wouldn't reach set point fast enough. And the way we had it set with furnaces to not avoid warranties and such is that the CHP system shut down when it went to the second stage of heating on the furnace. So you didn't cause any overheating issues. So the CHP system would shut off after about 20 minutes of operation in the morning because it said, hey, I'm not making set point, I gotta click into my second stage. The other thing we found is that he didn't have a setback thermostat on his radiant tube heaters, he just had them set to 20 degrees all the time. So that was fighting us too, is because those radiant tube heaters were able to supply enough heat to the building that our CHP system wasn't running. So really, I guess the point of what I'm getting at is that you really got to look at each building independently and say, okay, well, how can I maximize this runtime based on what's there existing? How, try and use simple controls. And when we got to December, we realized, this thing's supplying 40,000 BTUs worth of heat. We can run this thing continuously. So we just overrode the controls, turned the setbacks back on the furnaces and the tube heaters, and we were able to get 100% runtime after that, without any overheating issues in the building, and providing good value to the building owner. So in terms of heating delivered, as you can see, we were very low. The CHP is in blue here, up until December. And then we were kicking around that 30 to 36 gigajoules per month of heat, and with the remainder being picked up by the furnaces and tube heaters. In terms of electrical production, we were approaching about 4,000 kilowatt hours a month of production, which is pretty good, I thought. What we do take off, though, is some of the parasitic loads that come on with the system. Like I said, we had a battery charger, battery blanket, a heat trace on the condensate line. All those things really take away from the production of the system. So taking those off and adding, showing how the CHP system really worked in terms of the whole building, electrical use. So percent of the building load served in terms of electricity and heat is shown here. We were able to supply 30 to 40% of the building's needs in terms of electricity and heat with this small little system. Some of the financial results. Now, these don't look great, but they're positive. So we ran the CHP system. It's not as efficient as a 90% furnace, so it is going to use more natural gas. So the increase in natural gas is about almost $800. But we produced all this electricity that the building owner didn't have to pay for from SaskPower. So that resulted in a net benefit after considering parasitic loads of about $1,600. We sold $8.67 worth of power back to SaskPower over there. You got the check? I think he cashed it. I was hoping he was going to frame it. So the net benefit to the building owner was about $830. Now, it really comes down to this sensitivity and utility pricing. We don't pay a lot for natural gas and we don't pay a lot for power. So it's a tough sell. Now, looking at, okay, we're at a record low for natural gas price, so that's our red line there, that's that constant line of what we currently pay for natural gas. And then we have our power pricing. So SaskPower estimates maybe around 20 cents a kilowatt hour by 2020, 2030, depending on when you talk to them. But it's, we can see that there's going to be positive benefits in the future if power goes up. Because you get paid right now about 5 to 1 on your cost of natural gas to cost of electricity. And I looked around and, okay, so 32 cents a meter cubed is what we were paying not too long ago, like 2007 for natural gas. So that brings you down to that blue line. And this 55 cents a meter cubed, that was the highest priced natural gas I could find in Canada at the time. And you can see that, yeah, we can actually have a net or a negative return on investment here if electricity was low and natural gas was high. We produced about 19,000 kilowatt hours total in electricity, and about 52